The hardest part wasn't chasing the dream. It was not knowing if I was wasting years of my life following the wrong path.
Welcome back to God Showed Up Stories. Tonight's story is for anyone feeling uncertain about life, purpose, direction, or whether they're truly becoming the person God called them to be. The people trying their best while secretly wondering if they're moving forward or completely lost. Sometimes the most exhausting part of life is uncertainty. Not knowing if you should keep going. Not knowing if the sacrifices are worth it. Not knowing if God is actually leading you somewhere meaningful. And if you've ever laid awake wondering, how do I know I'm even on the right path? This story is for you. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who may need encouragement tonight. And comment below. Have you ever questioned your direction in life? Never forget this. Sometimes God confirms your path quietly through growth, peace, endurance, and the people you slowly become along the journey.
For years, I kept waiting for some huge sign from God. Something obvious, something undeniable, a perfect opportunity, a dramatic breakthrough, a moment where life suddenly made complete sense. Instead, most of my journey just felt confusing. I was in my late 20s when I started seriously questioning my direction in life. From the outside, things looked normal enough. I had a steady job, an apartment, friends, responsibilities. But internally, I constantly felt unsettled, like I was surviving life instead of truly living it. Everywhere I looked, people online seemed confident about who they were and where they were going. Meanwhile, I felt stuck, somewhere between fear and uncertainty. Some days I wondered if I should completely change careers. Other days I thought about moving somewhere new. Sometimes I wanted to start over entirely. But the hardest part wasn't making decisions. The hardest part was not knowing if I could trust myself. I remember driving home from work one evening, feeling emotionally drained after another long day at a job that paid the bills but left me feeling empty inside. Traffic lights reflected across the windshield while I quietly asked God something I had been carrying for a long time. How do I know if I'm actually on the right path? There wasn't some dramatic answer, no voice from heaven, no instant clarity, just silence. And honestly, that silence frustrated me because deep down, I wanted certainty. I wanted guarantees. I wanted to know that every sacrifice, every hard season, and every delayed answer was leading somewhere meaningful. Instead, life kept unfolding slowly, quietly, one uncertain step at a time. Around that season, I started becoming more intentional about small things, reading more, praying more consistently, taking care of my mental health, spending less time around people who constantly drained me emotionally. I also started pursuing creative passions I had ignored for years because I was afraid they weren't practical enough. At first, progress felt invisible. Honestly, there were moments I felt foolish even trying. While everybody else seemed to be building stable, successful lives, I felt like I was rebuilding myself from the inside out without knowing where it would lead. But little by little, subtle things started changing. Not externally at first, internally. I noticed I wasn't as anxious all the time. I started waking up with more hope. I felt lighter around certain people and heavier around others. I became more protective of my peace. And strangely enough, opportunities slowly started appearing too. Not massive overnight miracles, just small, open doors. Unexpected conversations, new connections, better habits, healthier relationships. Moments where life started aligning in ways I couldn't fully explain. One afternoon, I met an older man while sitting alone at a coffee shop working on personal goals I had almost given up on. We started casually talking. At one point during the conversation, I admitted how uncertain I felt about life. I remember asking him, "How do you know when you're finally on the right path?" He smiled quietly before saying something I've never forgotten. You usually don't realize it while it's happening. You realize it later when you look back and notice how much you've grown. That sentence stayed with me deeply because I suddenly realized I had been measuring my path entirely through external success. Money, recognition, results, speed. But maybe the better question was, who was I becoming while walking this path? Was I becoming wiser, more disciplined, more compassionate, more emotionally healthy, closer to God? more peaceful, more resilient? Because maybe being on the right path doesn't always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable, slow, stretching. Sometimes the right path actually requires healing before breakthrough. And looking back now, I think God was changing me long before he changed my circumstances. Over the following years, life still had difficult seasons. There were setbacks, disappointments, moments where I still questioned everything again. But there was also something new underneath all of it. Peace. Not perfect certainty, but quiet peace. The kind that slowly grows when your life starts aligning with who you were meant to become. Eventually, I realized something emotional. The right path wasn't about having a flawless life plan. It was about becoming someone who trusted God enough to keep walking even without having every answer. And maybe someone watching this tonight needs to hear that too. You may not fully understand your journey right now. You may feel uncertain, tired, confused, behind in life. But if you are growing, healing, learning, becoming more grounded, protecting your peace, and continuing to move forward with faith, you may already be much closer to the right path than you realize. Because sometimes God confirms direction quietly, through endurance, through peace, through growth, through the person you slowly become while continuing to trust him. And one day you may look back and realize God was guiding you the entire time, even during the seasons where you felt completely unsure.
If this story touched your heart today, comment below. God is guiding my path. And if you've been questioning your direction in life lately, please remember this. You do not need to have every answer to keep moving forward with faith. Take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who may need encouragement tonight. Thank you for spending this time with God Showed Up Stories. And always remember, God always shows up right on time.